Welcome. I'm Rob. Welcome to the live stream. A lot of news to cover. A lot of news to cover today. Uh, we're going to hit some meme news while we allow some people to step up and step in. If you're new here, welcome. How'd you find me? How'd you find me? If you're news here, I comment on the news. This is a news commentary, satirical, jokey joke channel. We kind of indulge in all that's happening in the world. We comment on it, have discussions, we brainstorm, we try to get creative. That's the main objective, to try to get people creatively thinking outside of their box, leaving them to think differently about their day, their life, their perspective. I like to say this often that you can't unhear things, and that's just science. Well, until science does come up with that little Men in Black beep, you know, that thing where they erase your memory. But until they come up with that, which I'm sure they probably have it, until they come up with that, you can't unhear stuff. You can only hear things. And once you've heard things, unfortunately, it changes the wrinkles in your brain. And then you might be forced to think about things differently. And that's ultimately the goal here, to have some kind of dialogue where maybe people walk away thinking about things differently. I think that's vital, especially because in today's day and age, with the amount of internets there are, with the amount of 24-hour coverage. I mean, listen, if the corporations could vote on having a longer day, they would. Not because they would have to work any longer, but because they could underpay people, exploit people, understaff people, and profit off of those extra hours and your attention. So what I try to do here on this commentary channel is we try to comment on all the stuff the media is putting out there, the politicians are putting out there, and just parse it with some common sense. Just try to see what makes sense. Is this the best for us? What could be the best for us? And my favorite is creatively thinking about how this world has an abundance of stuff. We have so much abundance. We really have so much. And how we could really have like a rad existence. There's only, a few handfuls of people who really want to gatekeep that from us. So I like to creatively think about how could we make tomorrow better? What's up, Crush? And please hit subscribe. Where is it? Right there? Right there? Hit the notification bell after you hit subscribe so you get notified when I go live. I go live every single weekday. I got a sick kid at home, so we'll see how the rest of the week goes. But for the most part, going on, getting close to 2 years. We're almost at 2 years. We're a few months away from going live every weekday for 2 years on the road to 10,000 subs. So if you could support the channel, support the not your typical propaganda, just how it's always been. This is the way we do things, not the defending of the status quo. That is one thing I can assure you. I will never ever defend the status quo, because right now the status quo is kind of bad. I think there's one trillionaire and the rest of us are hoping we don't lose our healthcare. So yeah, that status quo is just not working for everybody. And also on this commentary channel, sometimes I like to do a thing I call the meme news. I'll put memes up in the background. I'll show them to you. We'll talk about it or whatever. But sometimes it also George Carlin audio, the great late philosopher, comic, brilliant actor. If you've ever seen Thomas the Train, what was he? Conductor Carlin? No, he played a character. But I got some George Carlin or audio. when he was on Larry King Live on CNN. This has to be from the 90s. This has to be. And George Carlin's actually talking about, what's the guy's name? Andrew Dice Clay. I had a friend who loved Dice Clay when we were in high school, back when Clay was like, at his peak. I never understood Andrew Dice Clay. I still think his stuff's stupid. Does he do like dirty nursery rhymes or something? I don't know. I still think it's like, yeah, I guess. But no, I can't even say, yeah, I guess if you're an 8th grade boy discovering Dice Clay, you're like, oh, this is cool. Because I was an 8th grade guy discovering Andrew Dice Clay when my friend played for me. And I was like, this is stupid. We're funnier than that. But Carlin, the clip I have for you today in the meme news is George Carlin discussing why he thinks Dice is what he is. And clearly we know now, I don't know if Dice has died or not. I don't give a shit. But we know he's a grifter. He's a Trump MAGA dude. He's just another Florida man. A New York guy moved down to Florida. I'm pretty sure he lives in Florida. What else do we got in the meme news? We got Dice. We got, also, if you've been paying attention this week to the news, we've been talking about the Arkansas soy boy farmers who voted for Trump overwhelmingly. And now we're like, sir, could you please help us? And people, debate or discussing with me, saying like, oh, these people were trying to defend the farmers. I got the clip of the soy boy Arkansas farmer. I call them soy boys because they farm soybeans. I got the soy boy clip where he says, sir, you came here and said you loved us. And I joke about that. I jest about that. Number one, because Elon Musk said comedy is legal. He said they legalized comedy, so you can't take it back. Once you legalize comedy, that's it. It's set in stone. So hold on. Just so you know I'm not lying. Elon Musk. Where is it?
Legalize comedy.
Okay, just so you know I'm not lying.
Legalize comedy.
Elon Musk legalized comedy, so I can joke about the soy boy farmers. I don't want them to lose their farms, but I can make fun of them for being dodo birds and believing a liar. If you're going to be an idiot on national TV, I get to tease you. Don't say you care about feelings now, because you guys used to say F your feelings. So I got that clip, Carlin, some socialism talk, and what I'm going to start with, because we touched this. But do you drink the soy they produce? Just depends if I'm in the mood for soy milk. Hey, listen, let me give you some life advice. Oh yeah, I'm your official vibe coach, because people, the maggots, M-A-G-A-T-S, MAGA likes to think like if you drink soy, something happens to you, which I would highly encourage you to watch H Bomber Guy. He's a big YouTuber. He did a whole video on drinking soy actually ups your testosterone. He did a whole scientific breakdown. His mind works way differently than mine. And I watched it and I enjoyed it. And it was like an hour long, maybe longer. And H Bomber Guy really dives into the craft of research. But still to this day, there's like MAGA people who think if you drink soy, I don't know, maybe MAGA, you'd have to elaborate how somehow what you drink makes you less of the gender you are. MAGA really likes to define gender by what they drink. I can't understand it, I really can't. Can't at all. I'd say if you drink a lot of alcohol, that would really make me think something of you. But, just to hydrate, I don't know. But MAGA also like sees a cat and they go, oh, he's got a cat. I go, and? Oh, do animals not like you? Or are you scared of cats? It doesn't, Kev Dog. And that was the whole video H Bomber Guy put out. So again, there's a lot, but you know what? Misinformation is everywhere. So I try not to blame people for when, they show off, they confidently show off their stupidity. But once they know, and ignorance is gone and they can't say ignorance is bliss, then we go hard on them. Not hard in the Donald Trump, Jeff Epstein way, but, then we don't let up. Because I want everyone to do good. That's the whole thing. I'm Rob. I do this commentary channel, and my whole take is I want you to have health care. I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't think political beliefs should keep anybody away from seeing a doctor or dentist. That is kind of like the thing for people who are on the far left, who are radical and woke. We don't think your political affiliation should have any determination on whether or not you get to stay healthy in a rich country. Isn't that crazy? And MAGA has totally, heard me say that and still been like, "You soy boy." So it's weird. Hold on. What do you want to do? You want to go out? Because you don't get to do both. Come on. You want to go out? There you go. But I also want to. Oh man, some of you people, man, I don't know who raised you, like feral swine or what, but don't come into the Listen live stream fucking talking like you're hot shit. Man, these MAGAs, you could tell the economy's bad because the MAGA trolls are, out in droves always. And what I do is, I'll mute them because they don't give a shit about free speech. They support, all kinds of hate speech. So I'll mute these people. I will block them. I will just get rid of them because if you're not willing to entertain a good faith dialogue or have a discussion, which I love when people do in the chat, then, we got no time for you. Because as Elon Musk exposed on Twitter, a lot of these account locations are in foreign countries. This is a big psyop by Russia. As you know, the President of the United States of America is a Russian asset. He has done nothing to benefit the American people. And he's constantly allowing the Russian influence, whether it be virtual. I mean, in his first campaign, he said, "Russia, are you listening? If you could dig up dirt." So, I mean, he has advocated for Russia interference in American politics over 10 years ago. So, what do we think? It got fixed? I'd say it's gotten worse. But let's get to some of the meme news. One of the things... Hold on. I gotta block some more people. It's funny. This is another lesson for the young kids out there. Someone talks to you in a way that is massively disrespectful, feel free to tell them to shut the fuck up. So you back up. Don't talk to me like that. I know my worth, and fucking you knuckleheads can go do your own shit. You back up. Because these people don't believe in respecting others. That's why they worship that green turd who's Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump. The only person he's ever wished well is Ghislaine Maxwell. So these people will just take us a little while. We'll clean them out. So we talked about this story the other day. I wanted to bring this up in the meme news. This is Hope Walls. This is, what's his name? Gus. This is Gus's, I believe, older sister. Now, Gus is Tim Wall's son. I believe he's autistic. And we've just covered the story. This is why I want to play this, because I finally saw this. If you saw this earlier, I saw Hope go on TikTok and say what I'm about to play for you. And I just want to remind people that this all stems from the president calling the president of America, calling a governor the R word, calling him seriously retarded. That governor has a son who's autistic. And the president, and by the way, we're going to get to some Marjorie Taylor Greene audio later. And remember, she said, once the president turned on me, I had to hire secret security and I had to protect myself. And it's like she turned on she disagreed with the president for one day and had to hire security. We've covered this. And this is the president going after a governor and his family. And it's surreal. No one, again, doesn't matter your political affiliation. This is not politics. This is now about our country and the kids in it and the people in it. Nobody should agree with the rhetoric that this president spews off from his social media handles like he was some fucking 8th grade bully. He's a goddamn punk. If you hadn't heard Hope address this, I wanted to play her. I wanted to give her the time on the show. So go ahead, Hope.
No, I'm talking about this because while my family and I are always going to be the bigger people, the president calling my dad what he did has unleashed a storm regarding like offensive language towards me and my family, and specifically my brother. You can call me whatever you want. You can call my dad, my mom. When it's Gus, to the no. To the no. He dealt with people calling him that last August, and now there's a resurgence. And no, how is it okay that the president of the United States can call somebody, anybody, doesn't matter who they are, that, and then all of his freaking cult members come and attack those people and that person's family? Say what you want about my dad. He's an elected official, right? Like, that's gonna happen. I think it's utterly disgraceful that the president would do that. But then the attacks that I have seen, I have people DMing me saying absolutely horrendous things. When I was home last week, somebody drove by and screamed that we were R words, just driving by in their car. I'm like, what world are we living in? And again, I draw the line at Gus because he dealt with that before, and not again. You people are disgraceful. Shame on you. All of you. No.
I would say shame on mostly the president. He brings disgrace, not only in that chair, but on his family name, you know. And I think that's vital that she speak out and you understand that when people are like, God damn, these fucking idiots in here. I'm sorry, I just gotta block some fucking people. Gotta block these fucking Russian divisive instruments, the Tim Pool fans. Her dad, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, ran for vice president last year. And the president, number one, shouldn't be using that language. You know, I always make the joke on here, like when he says bullshit or he says fuck or retard, all of a sudden that word becomes presidential language. And if somebody says it, they're just trying to be the president. And that's like the joke I make. But in the real world, she's explaining to you that this moron who sits in the White House, the same guy who helped instigate J6 and people brought the Confederate flag, a traitorous flag to America. They were not the United States of America. They were the Confederacy, a separate nation. They were not Americans. We had a whole war about it. And they brought that flag into the Capitol building. Had never been there before. And he encouraged that shit. They felt emboldened because they were like, oh, one of us morons who are very insecure with ourselves and have to threaten everybody else so we can feel big. He emboldens these people. So it's vital to understand what her family goes through, because if she didn't say anything, we wouldn't know. But now that we've heard her, you can't feign ignorance. Like, he's just using locker room talk or whatever. No, he's a fucking moron. You know, Donald Trump is a fucking moron. And on top of that, he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And we don't know what he did. We know what he's, been found guilty of in civil cases. And we know what he's been found guilty of in criminal cases. And we know he's got plenty of photos. So maybe he's not the one who should be fucking calling people anything, you know? But I wanted to play that for you. Speaking of people who use that language, let me play this George Carlin clip from, I believe, this is from the 90s. Could be early 2000s. This is when Larry King Live was on the air. But this is Carlin talking about, what's his name? Dice Clay, Andrew Dice Clay. Hold on.
I would defend to the death his right to do everything he does. The thing that I find unusual, and it's not a criticism so much, but his targets are underdogs. And comedy traditionally has picked on people in power, people who abuse their power. Women and gays and immigrants are kind of, to my way of thinking, underdogs. And, he ought to be careful because he's Jewish. And a lot of the people who want to pick on these kind of groups, the Jews are on that list a little further. You got women, gays, gypsies, and then suddenly you find Jews. And
Suddenly Andrew's arrested.
Yeah, so, obviously he should do what he wants. And
Why does he get away with it, do you think, then?
well, because
I want you to, this is very poignant, and also this reason who George Carlin says finds Andrew Dice Clay funny or entertaining, has a very similar parallel to the MAGA cult.
He's never laughed at jokes about the
Well, he's
poor.
appealing. I think he's appealing largely. I think his core audience are young white males who are threatened by these groups. I think a lot of these guys aren't sure of their manhood because that's a problem when you're going in through adolescence. You know, and
It's more than a problem when you're going through adolescence. We see men of the age of 80. Donald Trump. We see Pete Botox Hegseth. We see Elon Musk. All these men, what they're doing is when they're accusing people of other things or they're trying to project this image, is really they're showing how insecure they are. So it's not just when you're coming of age. Sometimes you don't lose it because you never build up that confidence when you're coming of age.
am I really? Could I be? I hope I'm not.
Hold on, let me rewind it a little.
About the
Well, he's
poor.
appealing. I think he's appealing largely. I think his core audience are young white males who are threatened by these groups. I think a lot of these guys aren't sure of their manhood because that's a problem when you're going in through adolescence. You know, am I really? Could I be? I hope I'm not one of them. And the women who assert themselves and are competent are a threat to these men, and so are immigrants in terms of jobs and the
So that's why we
That was a funny meme. You hear what Carlin said? He said, and so are immigrants in terms of jobs. It's funny because the immigrants usually take, like day laboring jobs where you don't need a big resume, this, that. And who do you hear always say, like, the immigrants are taking our job? MAGA white dudes always talking about, oh, they're taking our jobs. I mean, Tucker Carlson, whatever his name is, Carson Daly Tucker Swanson McCarlson Daly. He'll tell me that, or he'll tell you that, they're going to take your jobs, but they're not going to take Tucker Carlson's job. He's not worried about his job. He's doing fine on YouTube, He's probably hold on. Sorry. I'm back. I'm not gone. Don't worry. Immigrants who do not take jobs, who you're trying to kid. Yeah. That was what I was saying. That the people who claim, the politicians easily tell you, they're going to take your jobs. And the people who claim it, usually MAGA, terrified that their jobs are going to be taken by MAGA. And it's funny that Carlin points that out, It's usually these insecure men who, probably don't have the resume to do anything else are the ones that are threatened by MAGA. I just had a meme the other day. Hold on. No. Oh, there's our boy, Free Luigi. You see, look at that. He was posing for the camera, he was giving everybody the fist bump. I love that. Solidarity, Luigi. Love it. Hold on. I hope I didn't delete the meme. I just showed it yesterday. It basically said something to the effect of, hold on. Oh, did I delete it? Here we go. Here it is. Do banks give home loans to folks who make minimum wage without even a social security number? So, again, this is why I do this live commentary channel on the news, because I also like to point out that when you have the vice president who is out there campaigning saying, well, they're still campaigning. They're campaigning for, their MAGA base to not abandon them because the stuff they say doesn't make sense. But when they say stuff like 30 million immigrants are buying up all the houses, does that even make sense? Does that really? Have you ever tried to get a house? Can you do it without a social security number? Can you do it with, no income? Can you do it without documentation? I don't know. Maybe, they're figuring out. Or are there corporate landlords that him and his orange queef chief are covering for? Maybe a scapegoat. Oh, hold on. Oh, here's one of these insecure men. Hold on, I got something for you, buddy. Needs to make sure I have a job. I love these people. Almost outside. Do you have a job? Oh, because I wouldn't be worth anything if I didn't work, right? Right? That's a swell fucking intellect you're showing off right there. I love it. I love it. Almost outside. Do you have a job? You're not worth anything in my house. God, I hope you don't ever have kids. Don't procreate, man. Because if you think what your worth is only the work you put in, then you've missed Jesus's whole message. You've missed the whole meaning of life. But I bet your corporate overlords are very proud of you when you go in and prove your worth. Every day, got to prove your worth, huh? It's funny. It's funny, man. It is funny. But this is what I try to get people to see, you know? I try to get people to understand that when somebody comes into the chat and goes, do you even have a job? Do you even work? And then they try to fucking, like, stand by your thing almost outside. Why are you making so many assumptions about a simple question? Oh, what could that simple question mean? I've just been fucking doing this for too long. I've worked with an audience for over 2 decades where I know where you're going with that. I can make the easiest assumption that this is how you look at life. And that's how, because your first chat, your first comment is, do you even work? That's not a fucking normal take. And I'm trying to wake you up to that. And I hope this little interaction with you, you take it with you, because you're never going to be able to unhear this. That's just science. You can't unhear what I'm telling you right now. Your best bet is to go run and hide. Get a safe space, because what I'm going to break to you right now is going to shatter your fucking perception, is that you've been sold this lie your entire life. So your first fucking comment in a live is, do you even work? Because you think that's a gotcha. You think, oh, you don't even have a job. Why should I listen to you? Da, 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 da. People hate fucking when I flip that around. When people talk about drug addicts, when people talk about homeless people, and I go, well, how many times have you been a drug addict or homeless people? Oh, you haven't? So how do you get to fucking comment on it? Why do you get to make the laws or decide? You know? But the thing is you've been brainwashed into thinking your worth is what you do for work, and that's just horseshit. I got another clip for you that I'm going to prove to you that is. But people who come into my chat and say that, because they do a lot of times, you should get a job. You live in your mom's basement. Do you work? It's exhausting because you guys think you can value people. If I said, well, I'm actually a CEO and a multi-billionaire, all of a sudden you're going to fucking fall in line and be like, oh my God, we all should respect him. No, because even if I told you I'm a millionaire CEO, fucking self-made, more than you, I have all the money, and I turned around and still said everyone should have health care, you shouldn't have to work to fucking have health care, and everybody should make enough to be able to live, you'd then freak out. So you have no morals, you have no integrity, you just look for an angle to try to discredit somebody so you can go, I don't have to listen to him because he doesn't work, he doesn't have a job. This is your whole fucking game. I know it. It's not an assumption. You guys are a fucking nickel for 100. You're not even a dime a dozen. You're a nickel for a fucking 1,000. Because this is what you do, and you do it so you can go, I don't have to, so later in the day when I'm swimming around your head, you can go, I don't have to listen to that guy, he does this for a living. Like, I worked in radio for 20 years and people were fucking really ruthlessly mean, right? Ruthlessly. And they did it to protect their fragile fucking ego. Because when someone says to them, hey, you shouldn't have to fucking work that hard just to survive, they go, what do you mean? I earned everything I got. And then they don't tell you, like, they lived at home till they were fucking 40 and they never moved out of their mom's house, and they don't tell you all that shit. You know what I mean? But sorry to get derailed. It's just so funny when I hear people come in here and go, do you even work? Like, is that what we're talking about? Did I come in here giving you career advice? Or am I talking about how our country's in fucking shambles run by a fucking fascist and we need to do something about it because no one's coming to save us? So let's get back. Let's let George Carlin finish. Don't interrupt the great George Carlin. Let's let old Georgie Porgy finish.
I'm not one of them. And
Hold on, let me restart because he's talking about Andrew Dice Clay.
death, his right to do everything he does. The thing that I find unusual, and it's not a criticism so much, but his targets are underdogs. And comedy tradition.
I want you to take that with you too. All these alpha male universe guys that stroll through the fucking shorts feed and find me. Comedy usually focuses not on the underdog. So when Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and all those assholes are fucking acting like a gay book is the downfall of Western culture or empathy is, just know they're not fucking comics. They're bullies.
Traditionally has picked on people in power.
People in power, you hear him? Usually that's what comedy does. I know Elon Musk wants to legalize it so the powerful can just pick on everybody without power, but I don't know. I trust Carlin. This is who I was raised on. And so far, not too many people can be like, oh, not a real comic. But you can certainly say that about Joe Rogan.
People who abuse their power. Women and gays and immigrants are kind of, to my way of thinking, underdogs. And, he ought to be careful because he's Jewish. And a lot of the people who want to pick on these kind of groups, the Jews are on that list a little further. You got women, gays, gypsies, blah, 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 and then suddenly you find Jews. And Andrew,
Suddenly Andrew's arrested.
yeah, so, I mean, obviously, he should do what he wants. And
Why does he get away with it, do you think, then?
Well,
We
because
have
he's-
never laughed at jokes about the
well, he's
poor.
appealing. I think he's appealing largely. I think his core audience are young white males who are threatened by these groups. I think a lot of these guys aren't sure of their manhood because that's a problem when you're going in through adolescence. Am I really? Could I be? I hope I'm not one of them. And the women who assert themselves and are competent are a threat to these men, and so are immigrants in terms of jobs and the
So that's why we as an audience then will laugh.
You say we. I don't think you're.
No.
But I
mean
think
the
you're
collective we.
I think that's what is at the core of that experience that takes place in these arenas. Is a certain, a sharing of anger and rage at these targets. And I'm sure Andrew isn't that angry at them. I'm sure he's playing it as a comic.
Interesting stuff, man. It's interesting. Dog Pound David? Is that your name? You get pounded by dogs? Don't come back. Carlin is one of the greatest. There's so many fucking morons that peruse through the lives. I mean, the shorts that come into the live. So sorry. Sometimes I just gotta mute these people. Just gotta mute them. Because they're just they're dumb, I always think about how Elon Musk exposed all these account locations, and most of them were like Russian, Nigerian princes, Southeast Asian, trying to sow discord, pretending to be MAGA, pretending to be real Americans when they're really Donald Trump's Russian friends. And you see them everywhere, It's a psyop on the American people to think what's best for us really isn't. Oh, if you're woke and you want healthcare for people, if you don't want old people to fucking die and you want them to not work till they're 100, then, that's bad for America. It's like, shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of these people. Meanwhile, none of it can apply to any of them, I'm sure they're all telling, their 90-year-old mother and grandmother, get back to work at Target. They're such fucking losers. So sorry. Sometimes I just gotta mute them. Look at these people. Guys. No one likes you. No one likes you. We understand. You always got to keep saying MAGA this, MAGA that. Hold on. Speaking of MAGA, did you guys see this photo of Donald Trump's best friend, Jeffrey Epstein? This is from one inside of his houses. What does this look like? That kind of looks like the decor Donald Trump did the White House with, doesn't it? Look at that. All the gold. You see all the gold? I mean, that kind of looks like Donald Trump. But You see all the gold? I wonder if Jeff Epstein and Donald Trump maybe had shared more than certain passions, maybe interior design. You know, there's a good distraction for you, MAGA. You could say, oh, they were just interior design buddies, which totally doesn't sound like, a gay midday show on, what's it, HGTV? Is that the Home and Garden TV network? HG? I believe that's it. I don't know. I haven't had cable in decades. Oh, speaking of distractions, but hold on. I want to play some. We still got to go through the meme news, and then we'll go through the rest of the news. Because what was it? Almost Outside. He's probably left. I mean, these people don't last long. Here's the one thing: MAGA doesn't stand up to scrutiny, and you can tell because their leader in queef, Donald Epstein's best friend, interior design buddies, dances like this. If you ask him a question he doesn't like, he says, "I need a safe space. You're a meme. Get away. Where are you? Failed news. Failed news." He can't handle any criticism. And that's like one of the tenets of MAGA. Like, you have to be very sensitive. Your ego has to be fragile. And if anybody challenges you in a way of like, well, that's not true, or what about this, or any kind of dissent, they crumble. So I don't know if Almost Outside is still here. I've said this twice. He hasn't said anything. I'm guessing he left. He was the first one to say, "Do you even work?" And then somebody else came in who I muted, said, "Do you have a job?" Because they think they've been convinced by the news and Tucker Carlson and Tim Pool. The funniest thing is they've been convinced by people like Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Tucker Carlson, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, all guys who have never fucking worked a real job. I've worked in construction. I've done roofing. I've done many different real jobs, the real man jobs, like Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro would like to say. And none of these guys, Joe Rogan was like a makeup wearing actor forever. Tim Pool, I think he did journalism, loosely quoted, for a long time. They all sit in podcast rooms, air-conditioned studios. Their hands aren't fucked up at all, and they talk into a mic, telling you about how real men are real tough, and they do stuff that is outdoors. I'm not outdoors, but trust me, I've been outdoors. I've seen a Home Depot once. And they're the ones selling the youth on what it is to be a real man sitting from a comfortable studio. But these dudes that come into the chat and say, "Do you have a job? Do you have a job? Do you have a job?" Because they think this is their logic. I'm going to judge you on what job you have, and then that way I can walk away thinking I'm okay because he only does this. If you just tell them, "Oh, I'm the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, a self-made CEO of a multi-million-dollar company," it fucks with their head, because then they don't know how to write it off, because they think money equals I have to listen. That's how they voted for Trump. They were like, he has a lot of money. They didn't know he got it from his dad. They don't understand that, Jesus, my radical Lord and Savior, and a lot of life isn't about what you did, where you clocked in, how you made your money. That doesn't make you worth something, Because if that was, we wouldn't have people saying like chivalry is dead. Because chivalry, you don't get paid for holding the door open. You don't get paid for manners. I think that's why we've transitioned to this like MAGA machismo, because it's all about pulling a rug pull and a meme coin, and that's macho now, That's why people celebrate the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. He wasn't Robin Hood. He wasn't ripping off the big investors. He wasn't taken from the companies. He wasn't fucking figuring out ways to grift from these multi-billion-dollar corporation investment private equity firms. You know who the Wolf of Wall Street robbed? Go watch the movie again. He robbed people investing on penny stocks. He is the scum of all scum. He is a fucking villain. When I watch that movie, I'm watching a villain the whole time. He's robbing penny stocks. People investing in the cheapest stocks there is. That's who he robbed. And he hasn't even paid those people back. Why do you think Fox News has him on? But when people tell you, and this is part of the commentary that I try to bring you, because you can't unhear this. That's why Almost Famous, no, that's a good movie. Almost Outside, I forget his name. That's why he left. Because I told him, I said, you can't unhear this. You're going to have to cope with this in your head all day long. It's going to fucking rumble around in there. But this country wants you to believe whatever you do for work makes you worth something, right? Even though, anybody know what Jesus's job was after he left the business with his father of carpentry? Anybody know what Jesus did for work? Because they want to make it a Christian nation, right? What did Christ do for a job? Anybody know? Anybody know? Anybody know? Thank you for subscribing, Swan Sassy. Love the name. Nothing. There we go. You're not what you own? Carpenter. I said after he left the family business of being a carpenter. Because he wasn't a carpenter in his 30s. He wasn't. I hate to break it to you guys. He didn't build that fucking cross. He certainly did carry it, but he didn't build it. He wasn't a carpenter in his 30s. Yes, my argument is capitalism is horrible. That's why we're here. That's why we have mega mergers where there's like 6 corporations that own everything, and they're like, hey, I don't know why egg is expensive. We just jack the price up 400%. But so good catching on. Jesus didn't have a job. He traveled around. I don't know if anybody else has read the Gospels, the good news. Jesus didn't go to fucking work every day and then go, guys, I just got off my fucking shift at Wendy's. I really want to go feed those masses right now, but my dogs are barking. I got to sit down over here and fucking get Gethsemane. Jesus didn't work. The MAGA Christians that want you to believe what you do for work is what you're worth are fucking fakes. It's all a fraud. It's meant to control your fucking mind. Okay? Understand that. Because these people, if Jesus came and they didn't say, and nobody said it was Jesus, they'd be like, why is this fucking immigrant bum not holding a job? All right? When Jesus went to feed the masses and the disciples were like, we got 5 loaves of bread and 3 fish, what are we going to do? He wasn't like, well, go check and see if everybody's worked 40 hours this week, and then we'll feed those people. It's all a fucking psyop, man. And I want to help prove or accentuate my point by playing this. I hate these jubilees. I hate these fucking things, but sometimes you get good clips out of them. This is against Patrick Bet Davidstone. We call him Patty Davidstone. He is the peak grifter. He's the Tony Robbins of grift. He ran multi-level marketing schemes, also known as pyramid schemes. Now he has a podcast where he sits in a fucking suit bragging about going to some Italian dinner fucking restaurant and how America's not what it was anymore. Well, he just grifts you out of your money, you know? He's just a shitbag. And he's one of these people. Your work is your worth. I'm sure he believes in chivalry, though, so I don't know how you put any worth on chivalry when it doesn't earn you any money. It's not capitalistic. Chivalry isn't capitalism. I hate to break it to you guys. But this kid points out something that if you know anything about, who was the fucking dude? I'll let him tell the story.
When you said capitalism is the best form of economic organization the world has ever seen, it made me think of a very particular picture from history. So, I don't know if you know this, it's a little history lesson. In 1900, King Leopold II of Belgium determined that the entire land of the Democratic Republic of the Congo was his personal property. And within 10 years, capitalists came out, they exploited all the land, extracted trillions of dollars of resources, 15 million Congolese died. For reference, the Holocaust killed 6 million people. And the most famous picture from that time in history is a rubber worker staring at the disembodied hands of his 8-year-old daughter because he didn't hit his rubber quota. I'm willing to bet that man worked harder to hit that rubber quota than anything you've ever worked for in your entire life.
100%. That's a very accentuated point, which it is true. You can go here on YouTube and look up King Leopold and what happened there. It's horrific. What's it? Hearts of Darkness. Is that? There's a book. I have the book. I forget. There's a book about it. So there's a lot of history that tells you about that. And these people worked. Imagine not working for money, but working so your hand wasn't cut off. You'd work pretty hard. Didn't get them anywhere. And the way I can relate that today is I know many, many people who work 2, 3 jobs, who work 7 days a week. They don't have a day off. And they're not doing it because they're buying a home. They're not doing it because they're going on their 4th vacation. They're doing it to survive. It's not about work. This is about, this system is structured to consolidate wealth and power in the hands of a few. And then you got the psyop going on where there's people down here like defending their oppressors. I don't know. They must be paid well. And I mean, that's the other thing. It's right in front of your face, guys. I encourage you to understand this. I've been doing this commentary, live podcast show. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. I've been doing this for a while, so I pay attention to news every day. I worked in radio before that, so I pay attention to news every day. And there have been certain news stories that you can't avoid but think this is a psyop to infiltrate our society, to divide us against each other, instead of coming together as a collective, as the 99% coming together. We all agree we should have health care. If we're a wealthy nation, we shouldn't be denied access because of a paywall. We all agree, GoFundMe shouldn't be the main place to raise money for fucking surgeries. Hold on, I have a meme for it. Go to GoFundMe. You ever been there? I think I got a GoFundMe up right now, praying for a miracle. GoFundMe is filled with people just trying to pay medical bills, medical debt. That's horrific. We all agree on that, but somehow people, and this has been in the news, these have been huge news stories, and the American public has just let it go, or, I don't know, been apathetic to it. Tim Pool, I mentioned him a lot. He admitted on camera, this is recorded, he said, I was duped. They tricked me. Russia tricked you into taking $500,000 a month? Why as an American, right? If everybody agrees that, Russia's still the bad guy. What do you want to be like Russia? You should go to Russia, right? Well, not Tim Pool so much. He doesn't think that. Maybe that's why they paid him so much. But if that's been the hype for 30, fucking 50, 70 years, 300 years, why would anybody in their right mind listen to anything Tim Pool said after he admits, Russia tricked me for a year or years, many months, into taking $500,000 from them to spread propaganda that I was spreading? Like, at that point, would you not fucking be like, oh, he's very untrustable. He can't even fucking vet his own money. Like, he doesn't know where the money he's getting paid for coming in. And he wouldn't question. If I started getting $500,000 a month, I'd be like, where's this money coming from anyways? And Tim was just like, I'm that valuable. Meanwhile, you can line up the news events and his take and Russia's take on things and see that it all kind of aligned. So this is, man, there's a psyop to keep us divided, to keep you red hats thinking that somebody like myself advocating, we're going to get into this later too, somebody like myself advocating that this is horrible. Health insurance premiums rose 3 times the rate of workers' earnings over the past 24 years. And I'm going to tell you why, because CEOs, hospital CEOs, prioritize profit over helping you. You know who got the most money? CEOs. I have a CEO pay tracker down in the in the description. You can track your businesses you patron. You can see how much their CEO pays themselves compared to the workers. If you're wondering, and this is like the easiest fix, and this is why none of the politicians or media talk about it. If you're wondering what's different now from 60, 70 years ago, it's not immigrants. I hate to break it to you. It's not poor people. I hate to break it to you. But if you look in union membership, and more importantly, if you look at CEO pay, in the 60s, it was 20, 30 to 1 to the median employee. There used to be, you can go watch this old movie, I love it this time of year, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And Clark Griswold is going to get a Christmas bonus and put an in-ground pool in. That used to exist because CEOs weren't like, oh, we could just pay ourselves 1,000 times more than the median employee, give them no Christmas bonuses, and what are they gonna do? We fucking fought against their unions. We divided them all up. We got them to fight each other and think it's, some poor people coming into the country. That's the problem. What are they going to do? They're not going to do anything. It's a psyop in real time, folks, and it's being exposed to you. Elon Musk exposed it. Tim Pool's exposed it. These people are exposing it. These are cracks in their armor. And we need to understand that, there's a reason. There is a reason why so many people across political divide agrees that Americans, 65,000 Americans, should not die from lack of access to healthcare. And they are every year. We all agree on that. Why isn't anything happening? Because they got us fighting over what? What? What you do for work? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Some people think like work should dictate fucking... Listen, if you're one of the people in the chat, almost outside, still calling out you. I know you left, you chicken shit. But if you come in here and say, what do you do for work? I bet you don't have a job, unemployed. If you think work makes you valuable, then I want you to understand, Fox News, Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, these motherfuckers don't have jobs. They don't. They talk. They say, my feelings are the most important. Here's what I do. They're not researchers. They don't bring you facts. Fox News has proven in court that nobody would take them serious or believable. Those are court documents. Joe Rogan has been proven as a fucking silly person. If you want to take him serious at something, watch him in an ice bath. I'm guessing he's a professional ice bath taker. I see fucking young men watching an old man take an ice bath. And I'm like, what is going on in our fucking culture? And then they're like, oh, what is this guy's take on the fucking geopolitical situation in the economy? Oh, it's that? Okay. It's like, no, just watch him for the best temperature of an ice bath. That's the only thing you should be getting your advice from that dude about, right? He flip-flops on everything, has the fucking CIA in every week, and people are like, oh, this is good, reliable information. He's a fucking psyop, folks. Palantir, the biggest investor in Spotify, pays him hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It's in front of your... By the way, for all those who say they just want a handout, we're going to keep staying on the work equals worth topic, because this is Benny Johnson. Yeah. Who said that? Miken? Benny Johnson. I was just watching Majority Report talking about Benny Johnson. I don't even know the drama going on. Milo Yiannopoulos and George Santos, all trustable sources, are on Tim Pool's show calling Benny Johnson gay. And it's just like, right? It's like Groyper gossip. And I'm like, it's so funny. Because a lot of these dudes are just gay. The Palantir, Peter Thiel, like, he's gay. Scott Bessent, he's gay. It's like, guys, just be who you are. In the land of the free, here's the other thing us leftists believe, if you want to classify me as something. In the land of the free, you should be free to express yourself how you want. It doesn't hurt anybody to be gay. You could get married to who you want. That's the land of the free. And the right wants to fucking, limit and whittle down any kind of freedom, free expression, political sovereignty you have. And the funny part is they call themselves, some of these people, the libertarians, say, oh, personal sovereignty is a fucking tenet of ours. And it's like, oh, really? Can you marry whoever you want? Oh, you can't? What about women? Can they do whatever they want with their body? Oh, you want to regulate that? Oh, personal sovereignty. Who does that apply to? White guys? And not even all white guys, the straight white guys? It's a joke, guys. Like, fucking these people are jokes. They should not be taken seriously. But when anybody ever tells you, like, oh, socialist, or you don't work, you're just entitled, you're lazy. I want to play this clip for you, because they don't know their fucking history and when I say people are confidently stupid, I'm serious. They come out here confidently stupid, bragging like, oh, people are entitled. And you don't understand your own history, why you got a weekend off, why you fucking have those rights and protections at work.
That nothing was ever given to you. The founding fathers didn't give you your rights. Women weren't given the right to vote. You always hear women were given the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. Women struggled for 100 years. For 100 years, from the 1820s when they mobilized the first conventions. And by the way, the vote wasn't even their major demand. They had a whole host of demands that had to do with the treatment of women labor and child labor and property rights, inheritance rights, all that sort of thing, and legal rights. And women struggled for 100 years. They agitated and marched and got arrested and beaten up and roughed up and chained themselves to the White House gates and got thrown into jail. Some of them died of pneumonia, force-fed and all that. And only after 100 years of struggle, then they were given the vote in this great gradualist thing. You see, we're just discussing, we learn, we go along a little bit. And workers were not given free trade unions. They had to fight for them. They had to fight against goon squads and Pinkerton detectives and terrorists and state militia and National Guard and U.S. Army. And that's how they got it, with their blood and their struggle.
And that's the other thing. Whenever I hear somebody, you know, especially the grifters on the right and the trad wife thing, that's how you know, like, America really doesn't teach history and they're really gutting our education, because people think like, oh, you hear these young, insecure men say like, oh, women's place is in the home and they should just be doing it. But the truth is, women, since the fucking inception of the colonizer coming to this country, since that inception, the women were building houses, working right next to the men, doing all they could. Read about it. The women were some of the first unions, the Lowell Women's Factory Workers Union. The children were working. Everybody was fucking working. We had robber barons at the time. What those people are grifting you on is they're trying to talk about that image of the 1950s where we had a single earner economy. And the reason we had that is because we had high taxes on fucking wealthy individuals and corporations. And they paid into the system, which could benefit our communities. So when they try to tell you a woman's place is anything other than fucking doing what a woman wants to do in the land of the free, you know they're being confidently stupid, or they think you are. Okay? Remember that. Because none of this shit was given to us. None of this shit is entitled. We've earned all of it, and we continue to. So that's a very important clip I wanted to play for you. We got to talk about this Epstein distraction. Tim Dillon, the old right-winger, the old Saudi money, couldn't take it because he spoke against the crown and couldn't take the Saudi money. He believes the stuff going on in the Caribbean is a distraction from the Epstein files. Here's old Timothy Dillithy.
And they're not talking about Epstein, and they're not talking about whatever the hell else is in these documents.
By the way, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. My name is Rob. I comment on the news and all the things and the culture. It's not a culture war, it's a class war. And I'm trying to make you understand. I'm trying to plant the seed in your brain. You'll have to carry with you because you can't unhear shit. We don't have the Men in Black technology where you can wipe your memory. You have to, once you hear this, you have to think about it again. And this channel doesn't take any, corporate money. This is all a passion project of mine. I do have another job. I just got a second job. This technically wouldn't even be a third job because I get pennies from YouTube. So I'm fully supported by you, the viewer. Like old WGBH, like PBS. Supported by viewers like you. So if you could hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, join the dialogue as we push for a better country. Better meaning the smartest, the healthiest. We're not paying the most and having our fucking life expectancy decline. And this shit can happen. This shit can happen, okay? Darnell, agreed. Joseph, my question is, the survivors all said they will make their own list, so why can't they? Obviously, so Joseph, that was actually asked in one of the press conferences. I watched a lot of press conferences with the survivors, and one of the lawyers answered and said, "Listen, do you know who this list contains?" Because I had the same question as you, same question. I said, "Just release it," you know. But I want you to remember how Epstein left this planet. And I want you to think about all the people associated with these things, how weird coincidences, I don't believe in coincidences, but if you do, weird coincidences has happened to all these different people associated with it, and how it literally is the most powerful people in the world. Mossad, Donald Trump, and all the people they have puppets in, the Saudis, the Pope. I mean, we're talking about the top of the 1%, the 1% of the 1%, the 0.001%. And they were like, if we put this list out, you know, what guarantees their safety? Nothing. You have a government right now, a fascist regime, Donald Trump. They signed to release this in November. We're getting through December and they still haven't released these files. And they're trying to go to war for oil and as a distraction, says Tim Dillon. So just think about that. When you really think about the weight of it, you know, if you had a list of people that you could fucking ruin them because of what it says in it, what would stop them from trying to make you, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a tough spot. I support whatever the survivors decide to do, but the bigger thing is that our government said they were going to release it. So what are they fucking waiting for? You know, like it shouldn't be on the survivors. It should be on the government to protect the people and the survivors. That's why why did we fucking set up a government? To oppress us? You know, I want people to remember this. We've gotten so lost in the year of our Lord 2025. Why did we set up a government, people? So they could oppress us and fucking have armored fucking cars in the streets? No. We set up a government for the people, of the people, by the people, so we could fucking have a general welfare, a state of good being, you know, communities. We didn't set up this government so they could be like, fuck you, we're running meme coins. That's not why. I know some people think, but that's not why. The president is paid with our tax dollars. I know he runs meme coins and fucking takes Saudi gifts and Qatar gifts and bribed all the time. But in the olden days, the president used to just be paid by our tax money. He worked for us. We are his boss. You know, so what is the fucking government good for if they have a list of known PDF files and they're like, man, we said we're going to release it, but we're not going to. Like the people, that's owed to the people. We need to know who the fuck are these people, man. And if they're still perpetrating these fucking things. Right? Does that make sense to anybody? To anybody? I feel like we've so lost our way. I don't agree with your religion, but you are correct. Assuming you're talking to me and not somebody else in the chat. You don't have to agree with my religion. Public servants no longer exist. There's only self-servants in the office. I like that, Mike. I'm going to steal that. Self-servants. Yeah. It used to be called public service. It used to be. And we on GT8, I can't read that. I always say, because Jesus taught me, that Jesus doesn't want me to do a crusade. He don't want me to make the fucking religion the law. Okay? You can go to Saudi Arabia. If you want religion to be the law, go to Sharia law. Here in the land of the free, we're supposed to have government and religion over here. You don't want the religion to become part of the government because whose religion? What do we vote every 4 years for which religion takes over? Fuck that noise. But more importantly, if you believe in Jesus, he said, do you know how people will come to you and find me? By the way you live your life. It's not regulating them. Funny, the fucking party of small government wants to regulate religion. Yeah, okay, interesting. But it's not making it the law. It's not putting it on the money. Jesus didn't say, hey, you know, to really get my point across, I need you to put my fucking shit on your money. That way everybody's got to see it. No, he was like, you live like me. Wash people's feet, feed them, heal them. Love your enemy. Be kind to them. Give them your coat if they ask for your shirt. So for me, you ain't gotta believe. I hope you hear what I say, see what I do, and you're like, that's fucking cool, man. What do you subscribe to? Oh, I subscribe to Jesus' newsletter. It's this thing called the Bible. I can read it every day. Let's go back to Timmy Dilly.
May or may not come out, redacted or unredacted, and they're not talking as much about the economy, and they're not asking to have health care, and they're not asking what Palantir is doing, and they're not asking why 5 tech guys in AI control half the American economy in San Francisco. They're not asking any of that. They're just watching a boat blow up in the middle of the ocean. When you have this clumsy, kind of somewhat insane, over the top deportations, people are looking at this and going, it's unserious, it's childish, it's cruel. I think one of the problems with whatever the MAGA movement is evolved into is it's duped their hardcore followers so much that the only thing left now is performative cruelty.
Performative cruelty.
Yep, that's it. Performative cruelty. Hey, we're getting something done. We're getting something done. Look at how mean we are, and then we make a meme about it and tweet out a video. Yeah. But I would even say to Tim Dillon, this isn't what MAGA and the movement turned into. This has been MAGA since, hold on, when did he first run? Was that 2015? Yeah, I was still working in radio. I remember his campaign.
Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Performative cruelty. It hasn't morphed into that, Timmy Dillon, like you said. Whatever the MAGA movement is turned into, it's now just performative. No, it's always been performative. And it's especially been cruel. That's what Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump, has always been known for. Cruelty. You don't take out a full-page ad in a New York newspaper to try to convince people of the guilt of innocent kids if you're not a fucking cruel and racist person, which Donald is. His whole show was based on firing people. You know, that beloved pastime here in America, laying people, Americans watching a CEO lay people off. This is what I mean when I say it's a psyop. You, getting home from your 9 to 5, have been convinced that your entertainment is watching other people get laid off. Just hoping it's not you this time. That was the that's the bread and circuses here in America. Our entertainment is watching other people get fired. Poor soul. What? The rent is going up? You see what I'm talking about? It's right in front of you. It's right there. They advertise it to you. They sell you the shirt. They fucking put ads in between it so they can make money off of that. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Shout out to the real ones in the chat. I love when Crush says that. I love when Crush says that. Oh, Jesus. I'll entertain this for a minute, but I don't usually engage with morons because, like Mark Twain said, if you argue with idiots, they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with their experience. Page A, my biggest issue with the left is that they had the perfect time to release the files. Biden is not the left. We got to correct so many things. I feel like a fucking grammar teacher right now, even though I'm bad at grammar. Okay, page A. Biden is not the left. He's a Democrat. Or if you're a subscriber and hit the notification bell on this channel, you'll know I call them diet Republicans. They're Republican light. Joe Biden could have canceled student debt, done a ton of shit, and poor Joe Biden didn't have the power to. Here, Donald Trump has the power to what? Do everything? He's going to war. He's done tariffs. He's fucking gone against every federal court ruling. He's deported Americans without even a fucking say-so. He's just sent them to other private countries' prisons. I mean, this should just show you, again, it's right in front of your face. Biden is not the left. As someone who I guess you could classify me as the left, we would cancel your debt. your medical, your school. We want people to be educated. We want people to be healthy. So Biden is not the left. Biden broke up the rail workers strike. And then we had this little thing that happened in East Palestine, Ohio. You should look it up. Biden broke up that strike. He's a diet Republican, Republican light, Republican zero, you know, same calories or less calories, same great taste as the Republicans. Our full political spectrum, if this is the center, it's Democrats and then the right, way over here. I hope that's not mirror imaged. We only have right-wing parties. There is no left. There is none. So we got to correct that. But also, in that sentiment, they all protect each other. There's a ruling class that will do anything for each other, and then the rest of us. That's why somebody said there's no more public service. It's self-service. That's why people get elected. Speaking of that, I'll put that on full display. Let's listen to this Marjorie Taylor Greene doing a 60 Minutes interview and see how now she's trying to distance herself from the MAGA right. You can understand that they don't give a shit about accountability, their communities, nothing. Their words can say whatever, but as soon as they have to atone for how they've acted in public service, they're fucking defend. They are just in self-preservation mode, even though they're multi, like Marjorie Taylor Greene went in there not 100 millionaire, and she's now 100 millionaire in politics. There's nothing left. We are just processing and getting milked for perspective. Some people in the chat are brainless. Yes, they are. Yes, that is true. And you can see the people that don't understand what I'm saying, you know, like if you thought that Democrats are the left, it's so adorable of you. But do you think if we voted for all Democrats, we would get universal health care? Do you think they would betray their corporate fucking puppet masters and give us all health care paid for by billionaires' taxes? You think we'd get a single payer system if we voted for all Democrats? Really? Wow. I don't know if you're optimistic or naive. I don't know. I can't tell. But I don't think Democrats would be like, oh yeah, corporations, I know we get millions of dollars from you, but we're just going to make sure people are healthy. That's not happening. That would be having a true left party. There is no left party in America. I know it's shocking for some, and you'll see them in the comments, you know, like say whatever they're saying. And they say that is because they've been propagandized so hard from birth. Everything they know, everything they hear. What does Donald Trump say? Joe Rogan. What are the two biggest mainstream media? Donald Trump, always on the media. Joe Rogan, biggest mainstream media fucking podcast. He is mainstream. He's not an underdog. He's mainstream. He's on Spotify. He's sponsored by like Palantir and all their friends. He is mainstream. What do they say all the time? What do they repeat? What do they put on clips all the time? The radical woke left. The radical, I'm like, you think Nancy Pelosi, who is capitalist to her core, fucking grifter, stock trading, would never do anything for the people. You think Nancy Pelosi is fucking woke? Like, if she's woke, fucking, I don't even know, man. That's fucking crazy. You know, it's so crazy. But people have just been propagandized. And they hear Joe Rogan say, oh yeah, the woke left, that's the problem. You know, there's like books that say shit. That's the problem. In this free country, there can't be like books and people expressing themselves how they want. What are we going to be, the freest country? We got to rein it back a little, you know? Like, they don't even make sense when they say shit. Just so you know, they're all out for themselves. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene on 60 Minutes.
The toxic politics.
But it became clear to us that she hasn't entirely lost her appetite for combat.
It's the most toxic political culture, and it's not helping the American
But you
people.
contribute.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about MAGA. She's saying it's the most toxic political culture. She left it for like a minute. And more than that, she was one of the ones harassing, like David Hogg, harassing children. You know, like Marjorie Taylor Greene was the mouthpiece. She was like their little horse-legged pit bull going out there fucking harassing kids. And I don't know who this old broad is, It's not Barbara Walters. Maybe it is. I don't know. Some old white bitch. I give her credit because she does some real newsing right here. She does some real journalism reporting because she pushes back, and she don't take no guff. You could tell us why she's on 60 Minutes.
Contributed to that. You were out there pounding, insulting people.
Leslie, you've contributed to it.
Leslie. Her name's Leslie? Leslie what? Anyways. And watch this. Marjorie Taylor Greene just goes, Leslie, you've done it. It's like, really? Leslie? I don't know who Leslie is, but she's on 60 Minutes. I'm pretty sure she's not harassing children on the street on TikTok.
As well with your own program. Yes, you're accusatory, just like you did just then.
I know you're accusing me, but I'm smiling.
You're accusing me.
I am accusing
But we
you.
don't have to accuse one another.
I want you to respond to what you have done in terms of insulting people, yelling at people, and then saying...
I'd like for you to respond for that.
I don't...
No, you...
Accountability. You know how somebody's turned a new leaf, like Russell Brand, when he found Christ after those accusations came out? There's nothing like turning over a new leaf, Marjorie Taylor Greene proving that she's a different person than denying everything she's done in the past and accusing somebody else when they ask her about it. Politics.
You can respond
I
to
don't
that.
insult people.
You do in the way you question.
You do.
And you...
So let me get this straight, MTG. The way that Leslie, this old lady on 60 Minutes, insults people is in the way she questions people. So when she questions, this is how you know what you're seeing right now. What you're hearing right now is a fragile ego. An ego that can't atone for the wrongs in the past. Somebody who's not this fragile could be like, you know what? I've done some stuff I'm not proud of. And I've learned, because leaving MAGA, as I said, it was a toxic cult, leaving, and when that vitriol was aimed at me, I understood how bad it hurt. And instead of easily saying that, how easy is it to say it? I just did. Instead of saying that, she's like, what about you asking questions about that stuff? That's pretty hurtful. It's like, how fucking fragile are you, man?
You're accusing me right now.
She's not. She's saying, like, you've done some stuff. This is not an accusation. You're on film, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You can go look it up. You were booing fucking people, harassing David Hogg, doing heinous stuff, all in the name of your Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, Epstein's best friend. My Christ, man. So one other side is coming to our side and you want to give her shit? This is the most poisonous stuff. Next World VR, I want you to understand something about what you're saying. There aren't sides in politics, okay? I know that might sound crazy. But in America, we just have a corporate oligarchy where the politicians pretend, oh, we're going to represent you, but they're funded by corporations and they work for the corporations. But the thing about your comment specifically is when you say, oh, someone's coming to our side and you want to make them accountable, that tells me, like, I wouldn't want to party up with you, man. Because I would want people that are joining my team, hitting subscribe, hitting the notification bell, that are going to be honest about things and going to confront themselves or the issues. What she's showing you there is grade A MAGA fucking deflection. Why would we want that? I don't know what side you think she's going to, because she's not, I think she's just grifting a new base. I think that's the other thing. Americans are so confusing to me because they literally think in like blue and red, and I don't. I think there's this fucking corporate world, and then there's people who buy into whatever these grifters are selling. And that's all Marjorie Taylor Greene, horselegs herself, is looking for. She's looking for the new base. And if it's some Democrats and some Republicans and some MAGA and the Epstein people, like she's just, it's like the podcast world. They're just looking for their niche, man. Their niche to turn around to the corporate sponsors and go, hey, look, I can sucker these people in. And they go, okay, you're funded. Just like Ben Shapiro Tim Pool, a lot of these grifters, they go, hey, look, here's my audience. I can tell them whatever. I can tell them to eat fucking colloidal silver and they'll do it, man. Fund me up, you know? Ben Shapiro, he's funded by fracking brothers. Tim Pool, Russia. You know what I mean? Like, they just want a base where they can hawk shit to. And that's not what I'm trying to do here. You know, that's why you don't see me breaking for sponsors. I'm supported by you. I'm trying to get you to understand that if she truly wants to do better for the communities and for the people, if she really wants to better this nation and confront that toxic culture, it starts with confronting this toxic culture, which she helped fucking bring to a new echelon. Without Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was the pit bull for them. She was out in the streets harassing people. You got to understand that. So if she can't even acknowledge her part, her role in it, like, what good is that? She's just grifting still. I agree. She could be our ally, but we shouldn't let her speak as a leftist. Caleb, she could be our ally all day long, but I ain't gonna trust her. Fucking ask her to represent me. Fucking speak for nothing. You want to ally with us? All right, keep your fucking distance. You know, we don't know how many of them Epstein fucking things you know about. Get the fuck back. You know, I consider who I ally with or who I team up with very important. You know, I know it's a slop fucking mess of a political landscape right now because mostly everybody's tied to Epstein, but like that to me is a fucking breaking point, you know? And most people, or not most people, but there's a lot of people who are like, hey, let's just overlook it, you know? And I'm like, I don't know about that. I got kids, they're kids of the community that I don't want to fucking worry that they're going to be taken by some motherfucker with a lot of money. So, Caleb, what you were saying, man, is like, she is, hold on, I don't know where your comment went, sorry. She said she's quitting, leaving, she's not going to change her mind. But she might change her mind if, no, next world, you understand, Marjorie Taylor Greene will change her mind at the fucking whiff of money. That's all these people care about, you know? If her kids all of a sudden fucking had a bunch of money and didn't have to worry about copays, she'd be like, oh, fuck you people. Like the reason she changed, because she was like, oh shit, premiums are going up and I'm not spending my money on my kids' healthcare. Like it only, you got to see the pattern. Again, it's a psyop happening in front of your face. The people who have turned on MAGA, that governor, or not the governor, there was a representative in Indiana who said, I have a daughter with Down syndrome, and when Donald Trump said the R word, I'm done. I'm not voting for his redistricting. They are self-servicing politicians. They don't care. That Indiana rep didn't care that there were other parents with kids like that out there. It only mattered when it was his. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't give a shit when everybody else was losing their health care. But when it happened to hers, then she stood up. That's not bravery. That's fucking self-service. That's all these politicians we are electing. I didn't elect these people. But America, you're electing the most selfish, narcissistic fucking people there are, you know? And anybody who comes out and says, I care about poor people, anybody who says the fucking Jesus big three, I care about poor people, I care about fucking the sick people, and I care about the homeless people, anybody who comes out and says that are labeled as communist, socialist, fucking entitled, lazy, you know, like that is the fucking discussion in America. And that's why, like, I don't know, Americans are like, well, let's just vote for fucking someone who's really selfish and will only care about themselves. Because that's how I am, you know, and it's like, you don't have to be like that. You don't have to elect people like that. And you can say, just because Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, two of the richest men in the world, I don't know why people think they're like underdogs or fucking counterculture. They're fucking herbs. But when they're sitting in their $1 billion compound, you know, private planes there, don't mess with the public, fucking haven't been to a shopping fucking thing in decades. When they're both saying like, oh, empathy is going to be our downfall, like you understand they're trying to get you to turn on your fucking neighbors. They don't even have neighbors. They live on compounds. Elon Musk tried to go after the guy who's tracking his public knowledge flights, his private flights that are public knowledge, like they live in a different society than the public. Okay. And they're trying to tell the public, oh, you should, be like us who have security and private planes and mansions. It's a big psyop, man. And I'm trying to get people to understand that community is good. Community is good. You live in one. Unlike Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, you live in a community. F. Tim Dillon, he's a rat. Yeah, Molly, welcome to the chat. I like that comment. Hold on, Caleb. Dear Lord, Sizzle Moonsong. I didn't know that. What did Sizzle Moonsong say? Trump said that disabled people should just... His own nephew had an on-the-clock timer. I don't doubt it, Sizzle Moon. There are a lot of things reported that he says behind closed doors that we've talked about some of them, but I don't doubt it. And anybody that would doubt that he would, it's a comment in the live. I'm not going to read it out loud, but anybody that would doubt that Donald Trump, who would say this stuff behind closed doors when on camera does stuff like this.
Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Who's in many photos with Jeffrey Epstein, more photos than I have with my grandmother. Would doubt that. I just don't. He's the most hideous of humanity. He's absolutely disgusting. Okay, so we did the Tim Dillon news. What was the other stuff? Oh, speaking of all this, did you see this? This is an article from today or yesterday. Yo, Reid Hoffman. This is one of Epstein's friends. I linked the article down below. LinkedIn co-founder, looks about right. And I do judge Epstein friends by their looks. Fuck them. I love how some people like to pretend that they have decorum. Oh, leave it to this guy to judge. Look, these people debase us all the time. They're the most heinous of society and friends with Jeff Epstein. And they have no problem fucking, using their power on the vulnerable. Fuck this dude. Plus LinkedIn is a psychotic capitalist fucking hellscape. It really is. Where they're like, you should just always want to work for your boss. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking fry cook. You should just have your phone on and be on call like you're a doctor. And they're like, that's the key to success. They don't tell you like they got a trust fund. So LinkedIn is a poisonous place. But he says he learned a lesson from visit to Epstein Island. Quote, note to self, Google before going. I'm sorry, but this isn't the most fucking craziest self-snitching. I know he's already been outed as being in the Epstein thing, but the last thing you want to do is remind people by being like, hey, Business Insider, I'll give you a good expose on the lesson I learned from going to Epstein Island. Like, is this not... This is what I mean about the mainstream media and our society right now. Like, the culture right now is like, oh, let me read the lesson... 10 lessons a CEO co-founder learned from Epstein Island. Like, this is fucking normal. Like, this is psychotic. You know what the lesson I learned is? He's probably not trustworthy around children. How'd you meet Epstein? Oh, funding? But how did you meet him? Why did you go there? What did you think the private island was? Do you just blindly go to private islands when you're invited? Is this the billionaires fucking version of don't take strangers' candy? Don't get in the van if somebody says they have a puppy? Are you fucking kidding me? This is psychotic, and this is somehow pawned off as a Business Insider, just normal article in every day, But then the news we're going to talk about gets no coverage and is told you're socialist, communist, whatever. Child mortality is rising. And the other one, the reason health insurance sucks is because of the CEOs. Spoiler alert, CEOs. This is so crazy to me that Reid Hoffman was like, oh yeah, let me sit down. Honey, today I have an interview with Business Insider. Oh, really? Really, Reid? What's it about? Oh, just the lessons I learned from Epstein Island. I'm doing a BuzzFeed top 5. Like, this is psychotic that our culture has just normalized this. So much so that you can just do interviews about it. What did I learn? This is fucking crazy. Hold on, what's going on in the comments? no, I'm missing the comments. Sourdough no-nos? What? He's trying to get ahead of it. Listen, I had that thought too, but as I was researching, because I was like, there's no way he's self-snitching, right? So when I was looking it up, it turns out that Reid was already exposed as going to the island. So he's just rehashing it, which is psychotic. I don't know. Because if this was part of your history, wouldn't you just not want to talk about it like everybody else, like Donald Trump? He's like, you're weak and you're weak and pathetic if you talk about it anymore. Like, I get it. That's a normal reaction to some kind of shame in your past. This dude, old tons of fun. Hold on. Sorry. My son is very sick, so I had to take the day off work, and he's not feeling good, so I had to check in with him. And he wanted the orange cat. He said, I want the orange cat. Orange cat is his little buddy. Crush is here, though. Say hi to the black cat. Say hi. She doesn't like humans. She does not like humans, so... Yeah, I know. I gotta go put her back down. Hold on. Say hi to everybody. Say hi to Crush. Crush got a black cat too. Say hi. Oh, thank you, Christine. Yeah, it's tough when you have to work to keep your health care. But, I sent him to school yesterday and went into work. And today, the poor guy, he's just not, I couldn't do it. I was trying, it's so hard because childcare is too expensive. You have to work to keep your health insurance. And today I had to call it. And it just sucks because he's not doing good. But I told him, I said, bud, I can't miss another day of work. I said, I know you're not going to feel good, but, it's so horrible because I don't want to be that parent, but I can't lose our health. I can't lose our health care. America's so fucked. So fucked. So I appreciate that, Christine. I do a lot. Oh, Merry Christmas to you, Maud, Annabelle. Beautiful name. Thank you very much for that comment. I don't get too many kind ones, but it is nice to hear that, so I appreciate you. Trying to get people, I'm trying to plant seeds. I would say this to my kids and my kids' teachers, and my wife would always tell me, shut the fuck up. She said, you're crazy, stop with the class war. And I'd be like, I'm just gonna tell this PTA meeting, be like, y'all need to wake up. And she'd be like, God damn it, just sit down, And before I would, how there's people on the right, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that are just psychotic, and you're like, oh my God. I'm that dude on the far left. I am that fucking dude. I'm like, no one should be dying from fucking lack of health care. This is nuts. What kind of nation is this? Because I thoroughly believe it. Because if you know nothing about me, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I lost both my parents at a young age. My brother's been homeless for fucking decades. And simple fucking solutions to shit. I can't even count how many friends I've lost. Starting at the age of 12. I'm a fucking old man. I've lost dozens of friends from simple shit. Simple shit that could have been fucking helped or avoided from simple safety nets. And not only that, but what I've witnessed, that's just my personal life, what I've witnessed other people suffer, you know, friends and family with insulin, having to take insulin or medical issues or fucking, housing things. I've witnessed so many things. I've witnessed young fucking kids, 18 years old, working 3 jobs to rent a fucking room. To rent a room. They weren't blessed with parents that even cared about them. They were orphaned. And these kids are working fucking job to job to job just to rent a fucking room. That's not a fucking, to me, that's a third world nation. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And I can't, in my old age, I can't stay quiet. I need people to understand that universal healthcare works. It works around the world. Americans have been told propaganda their whole life that's socialism. It doesn't work. They've been told socialism doesn't work, which the greatest things they enjoy are the benefits of social infrastructure, social power, social policies. And just like the taxing the wealth, which we just saw huge in New York with Mamdani, here in Massachusetts, the mayor-elect wants to do a 2% tax. Here in Massachusetts, we did a 4% tax. And not only did it work, our millionaire population grew by 39%. No kid goes hungry at school, which is so great for me. So great for me. Because I was a kid who was hungry in school once too. And if I'm hungry, I can't learn. I can't learn. And no kid should have to be hungry and try to learn. That's fucking torture. That's unacceptable. You don't get to call a nation great if you have children hungry. I don't know why I went off on that diatribe, but the plant a seed, that's what it was. So because of my life experience, and at one time being a young, insecure male who kind of bought into some of these narratives about what masculinity was, what Christianity was, and questioning it enough to come to my own conclusions confidently that Christianity can't mean ensuring that people work to get their food. The guy, Jesus, who said, "Give me the loaves of bread and fish and I'll feed everybody," without checking if they had worked a full shift, that can't be the same Christianity. That doesn't make sense. And I had priests laugh me out of their church. And I've had nuns fucking scold me. And I kept questioning it. And now I understand most of these people do it for their own power or to enrich themselves. That's why I say it's right in front of your face. Just ask the right questions. So when I try to encourage people with these things, because we can have a better country. When I was growing up, it was still kind of a single earner economy. You could have one person working. Go watch the movie Home Alone. It's that time of year. Go watch the movie Home Alone. Go look at how they live. Go look at their vacation. Go watch The Simpsons and look at how they lived. And that was reflective of the culture, society. We are not there anymore. I witnessed it. I witnessed before the greed, the CEOs, we're going to get into that. All right, long story short, fuck you, Reid. Thanks for ratting yourself out again, you sniveling little toad. But this article, this one really pisses me off, okay? I have people I love that work in the health sector. My life has been saved by people in the health sector. I'm sure you've had saviors in the health sector. I'm sure you probably go to a doctor. I'm sure you're not like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan goes to a vet. He doesn't trust the doctors and the scientists, but he certainly will trust a veterinarian with ivermectin. I don't think I can say this because my streams get demonetized. That penny I'm going to earn really fucking helps. Again, that's why your support means the world to me, because I'm not counting on YouTube to pay me. I know how they treat their employees. It's your support. That's why I do this. So thank you if you have hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. And I watched people that worked as nurses, doctors, and stuff be celebrated as heroes. But they're not paid like a hero. They're not paid like they're on the front lines. You know who is? CEOs. I linked this down below. So you could read it yourself. But before we get into this, I want to point out a little history. Everybody should check out Jacobin. Sorry, it got cut off. It's my favorite magazine, the only magazine I've ever paid for. I got it years ago for myself for a birthday subscription. It's a socialist magazine, if you know what the Jacobin are, French Revolution. Anyways, they pointed out that General Electric announced that they would fire any workers suspected of being communists and defend and suspend those who were not willing to declare their affiliation to the government on this day in 1953. The reason I want to bring this up is because how funny is it that our country would allow this with communists, but we don't do it with Hitler fans? World War II, we weren't fighting against the communists. Do you know that? We didn't actually fight them. They helped us win that war. We were allies. This is why they don't want to teach you your history, because it's right in front of your face. So it's weird, right? Just hear me out. Again, I'm planting a seed. So that's what I was saying. I used to say that at the end of when my wife would be like, just shut up, you're embarrassing us. And I'd be like, I'm just planting a seed. You can't unhear this. I would say, I'm planting a seed, and put a little seed in their brain. Because then you have to live your life with that seed. And whether you water it or you don't is up to you. But isn't it interesting that this country will allow you to, well, it's illegal to be a communist in this country. You can't be a part of the Communist Party. Interesting, right? What about those not-sees, the Yahtzees? You know Yahtzee? Love that game when I was a kid. It's poker with dice. It's a great game. Used to play it in New York at my aunt's house. Anyways, isn't that weird that the Yahtzees are proudly walking around affiliating with police, military, Republicans? You don't see companies like General Electric going, anybody who's suspected of being a Yahtzee or not willing to declare their affiliation to the U.S., because again, we fought the Yahtzees in World War II, not the communists, will be fired. Wouldn't that be refreshing? Wouldn't that be amazing to see that? I would love if our country did that. Said, you know what? If you are in support of the Yahtzees, then you're fired and you're da-da-da. Because we've done this in America. They did it with the communists. Is that interesting? I just want you to think about it. Because these people, like a guy with the last name of Fuentes, but he's a white supremacist. That's weird. His last name's Fuentes. I hope ICE doesn't find out about that. Is going on big platforms. And there's Elon Musk, who his grandparents were Yahtzee supporters so much that they left Canada to go to apartheid South Africa. You can look that up. We've talked about it here on the channel. And he does their salute. Wouldn't it be refreshing if we had political parties saying that, you know, the people we fought in World War II, if you are suspected of being one of those, or not willing to declare your affiliation to the government, you're out of here. Wouldn't that be... Just subscribed. Posit track. Thank you. A lot of people think the USA has always been a bad place. Simply not true. The country was once the greatest in the world. Anti-communism was based on a lot of things. But what I'm trying to get people to think about is with all the Yahtzee infiltration that is in front of your face, not hidden like in the 90s. We used to have Rage Against the Machine sing us songs around the campfire about old Tom Joad and how they were infiltrating the police departments and this. Now they are out loud and proud. The Proud Boys. They're out loud and proud. And nobody is condemning it. I mean, back in the 50s, they were quick to fire everyone who was suspected of communism. Quick. Did it with a quickness. Full support of the government, too. They had hearings. McCarthy. Wouldn't that be refreshing? I mean, my grandfather fought in that war. I'm sure yours did. Or someone you know. I have my grandfather's flag right over there. Wouldn't that be nice if we saw any political party, any news organization, any General Electric saying, if you're associated with the Yahtzees, you'll be fired, or if you won't declare your affiliation to the U.S. But instead, we see these Confederate flag-toting fucking losers and these people spraying their point of view like a fucking feral cat everywhere. And it's very anti-American. Pocket full of shells. Okay, I don't know if I could say that word on here, but great handle. And yeah, pocket full of shells. Rob, I stepped away for a few doubling back on that Epstein thing. Powerful people are so powerful that the president of the United States is scared. Why have any laws? I ask the same thing. Why do we have laws? The president doesn't have to be accountable to any of them. The powerful don't have to be accountable to any of them. Go read about the story about the corporation who hired a 15-year-old to do a roofing job. The 15-year-old lost his life, and the corporation got to pay a fine. Why do we have laws? They're man-made. We made them up. These are not ordained by God. Usually they're backroom deals by the most powerful bidder who gets to sit in that room and help co-write it. And then it's just signed by the legislator. There is really no effect that these laws create besides for whom they are created. I encourage you to keep questioning that line of thinking. I do all the time. And I wonder, well, what's the point? If the president's immune to the laws, then we just have a king. That's what the Supreme Court said. And what is the point of the laws? If ICE can fucking violate all these, and it's in the news today, I didn't grab it because, again, I wanted to talk about some other stuff. If ICE can violate all these laws, just kidnap Americans, which they're doing. There's plenty of videos. The White House is even like promoting some of them. What's the point of them? It's not to protect us. Is it just to put up the facade of some kind of civilization? I don't know. That's what I ask you. You live in a corporatocracy. I do. And I'm fighting against it every day. I hate it. And I want people to understand, especially maggots, M-A-G-A-T-S. I don't want you to suffer from lack of health care either. I don't want you or your kids to go hungry. So many people see what I do and internalize it in their selfish perspective. And they go, oh, this guy's lazy, entitled. I don't want people to die needlessly. I don't want people to have to work 3 jobs when you should only have to work 1. There was a time in this country you could just work 1 and buy a home. And it's not the people who are the poorest that are creating these conditions. You're telling me the poor people who don't write the laws and don't have any of the money and don't have any of the fucking networking to talk with the powerful people or can't go to Mar-a-Lago to pay to be near the president are the ones that are making it this way? Interesting. I must relook everything. Silly me. I thought it was the one with all the power and the money who's set up the fucking way we're living right now. I thought when the corporations who sell the egg make scarcity and then demand higher prices saying bird flu, transportation issues, I thought it was their fault. I didn't know it was the workers' fault. Do you see how you're being psyoped into believing shit that doesn't make sense? I encourage you. Jesus put that brain in your skull for a reason, man.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
And that's what some people say to me. Confederate flag, the original participation trophy. One of the greatest fucking lines ever. Love you. Who said that? Mike and Go Birds, Philly fan. Did anybody see the, on Disney Plus, they had the Mike Wazowski and James Sullivan football game with the monsters? I thought, man, the NFL is so desperate to fucking, corporately wiggle their way into childhood. Shout out to the real ones in the chat. Confederate, aka Democrats. I love how some people come in here so fucking dumb. Some so dumb. They're like, that when the Confederacy, it was the Democrats. Do you know the story of how we came to be, though? Do you know that they're not anymore? Do you understand that the racist ones, the ones who perpetrated most of the Jim Crow South and were anti-civil rights and against Martin Luther King and all of the pushback, including like Charlie Kirk saying the racist shit he said, like it's just the funniest thing when you show how fucking dumb you are because you heard maybe Donald Trump say that once and you're like, let me repeat that without knowing any of the history. Like, oh yeah, tell me all the Republicans who walked side by side with Martin Luther King. God damn. There's so many stupid people out there. But here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing about you, you little dummy, you little moron. Listen to me closely. I love you so much that I want you to get educated. I want you to have that equal opportunity, that DEI for education that you so badly need. I don't want it just to go to the rich and powerful kids. I want you to have that. I think it would do you some good so you don't come in here barking like you're a fucking moron, confidently stupid. You know, it's scary when I see people that confidently dumb. I go, oh man, they must walk around and say shit like that all the time, and everyone's like, oh, here comes that moron again. Oh, what'd you hear today, buddy? Oh, really? Okay. You don't trust science, do you? But you'll go to a veterinarian. Okay, all right. Don't tick him off. He needs a safe space. He'll fucking lose his temper. Oh, that's why I'm your vibe coach. Usually your vibe coach for the Republicans, but you know. USA, where health is a commodity. Yes. My party switch. So I wanted to show you guys this because this is important and it's in the news. And here's the thing: hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I guarantee you, your local fucking nightly news isn't going to cover this. This is the other reason why I'm not always trying to, you know, just cover whatever the. Listen, I know there were some top stories. Hold on. I know there was some stuff. Okay? I know. I was there. Let's see. I know that they were using a drone in South Carolina to drop steak and crab legs for prisoners, which I thought finally we're using technology the right way. You know, finally they're using the drones for some good, you know. Here's the picture of the confiscated stuff. So I know that there's, you know, you're going to see this tonight on your local. Well, a drone is being used for not in the Caribbean. Da, da, da. I understand these stories are fun. They're fun, but they're not going to help you in life. I know that, you know, there's the Timmy Dillons. I know that in Australia, they just banned social media for anyone under the age of 16. What do you guys think about that? Blame Obama. Oh, I love it. Jay, hey, man. If I got to educate everybody in the chat, I will. Blame Obamacare for your insurance rates. We solved this mystery. Hey, Jay. You're a smart man, right? Well educated. Jay Blaze, if you don't disappear, don't be a chicken shit. Come on, don't be a chicken shit. I need you to stay here. I want you to answer me this. Who created Obamacare? How did it come to be? Do you know which, I'm not even going to say political party. I'm going to say, do you know which think tank created it? Come on, Jay Blaze. I know there's a little delay, but I want you to work this whole thing out. I want to show you something. Because too many people just repeat something they heard and don't know the story behind it. Healthy for the kids. Yeah, we're going to talk about this in a second. All right, Jay Blaze, I understand. You're chicken shit. You're going to drop in the chat, say some dumb stuff, but this is a chance to let everybody understand. When Jay Blaze says, blame Obamacare for your insurance rates, people don't understand that Obamacare came from Massachusetts. We had a governor named Mitt Romney, piece of shit guy from Utah. I think he's a Mormon. Fuck him. Positrack, he must know. You got it, Jay Blaze. You got to know Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. I'm praying he knows that much. Holy shit, you're probably right. No, he's chicken shit, Crush. He left. He left. It's okay. But I want people to understand when people go, oh, blame Obamacare. Number one, Obamacare is Affordable Care Act. And where it came from is Massachusetts. It was called Romney Care. The Republican governor of Massachusetts implemented the system first here in Massachusetts. And where Romney got it from, sorry, was that you? Where Mitt Romney got it from, blame insurance companies' greed. Thank you. You can actually blame the Heritage Foundation. If you don't know the Heritage Foundation, they are an extreme right-wing think tank. They're Project 2025 guys, tight with Trump. They are the ones who created Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, as a way to benefit the private insurance company, the for-profit insurance company, instead of doing single payer or universal health care. It was their way to say, no, we have something better. We won't discount people for having a pre-existing condition. Let's still allow CEOs to make a lot of money off your illness. So the answer is the Heritage Foundation, correct. So Jay Blaze, if you come in here saying stuff like that, just understand that this is a Heritage Foundation, Trump buddy. This is the Republicans' healthcare plan, or concepts of. Mitt was a Republican, correct. Okay, so Australia. I see, this is the news. I know it's going out there. I just don't want to talk about it because there's more important things. There's more important information. I think this is a great idea. We're not going to go into the whole thing. They're doing like face scans to check. I think, I sound old, but I grew up without social media. I think Meta and Zuckerberg hide how unhealthy it is for kids, and they profit off your data and metadata and all that, and they'll never ever in a million years show that the way they made billions was from selling your data and making your community way less healthy and dividing the country and sowing division and profiting off misinformation because it clicks harder and faster than regular information. They'll never, cut off their source of greed. So this can only be good. Yeah, so what's going to happen is they're going to profit off the data from the IDs. This is not a good thing. They're not using IDs, though. This is for kids, and they're doing a facial scan. Based on the stuff I've seen you talk about, you seem like you're on. But I do not agree with them taking IDs. Again, this is where it's tricky, and this is also where, for those people who are like, no government regulation, well, you want regulations. That's why you can't work 3 shifts in a row. That's why they have to pay you for overtime. Those are regulations. You know who doesn't want regulations? Corporations. But I think this is one of those premium incidences where, come here, buddy. I think this is one of those primo times where government intervention, like people who study this, the digital data scientists and stuff that don't work for Meta, would be essential to delegate how this should be regulated, because I think it's a good idea to keep kids off social media, but we need some kind of smart people who study this stuff and know the repercussions of the young minds utilizing this stuff, and have them help regulate it. But Meta will lobby to have their own people regulate it, so there's loopholes, and that there basically is no regulation. So but okay, so because this is what I've been dying to get to, because it relates to the next story about child mortality rising for the first time in 25 years. Health insurance premium rose 3 times the rate of workers' earnings. And I linked the other, outpacing the rate of workers' earnings by 3. We're just going to skip over some of this because I've been going for a while. Hospitals are aggressively raising their prices because hospital CEOs have incentives to do so. One study found that for nonprofit health systems, the greatest pay increase between 2019 went to hospital CEOs who grew profits and the size of their organizations the most. However, financial reward of delivering above average care of quality declined. So the quality of care declines when your incentive is just to make money. Probably because they'll cut out a bunch of shit. They'll understaff. They'll common sense things. You know what I mean? I don't have time to go into all this. I'm sorry, because I've been doing this for a while now. Increased charity care for your discounted health services nonprofit must provide some sign of patients who cannot afford medical care was not significantly tied to CEO compensation. Oh shoot, hold on. Okay, here we go. One way to ensure that nonprofit hospitals make the health of their local communities a top priority instead of profits is to require their board to disclose their executive compensation guidelines for salary and bonuses, similar to the information that for-profit healthcare companies disclose to their stockholders. I also linked this link. It goes to this, which I didn't want to take pictures of the full proposal, but these are people who are looking to guide and regulate how these pay structures are done, which I'm not saying I agree with them, but again, I think all these things need to be looked into, because once one study, 100 studies start going, oh, the profit incentive was the only thing that they cared about. CEOs made 3 times as much as before, and the quality of care declined. I don't think you need to know much else. Something needs to be done, because like in America, everywhere, it doesn't matter, for-profit, nonprofit, when you've only incentivized not how many people survive, the quality of care, if it's not based on health, if the healthcare industry isn't based on the health of the patients and is only based on how much money they're making, then the health of the patients is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if everyone who goes to that hospital doesn't make it, as long as they're turning a profit, which they'll figure out a way. So this really should be alarming, setting alarm bells off, and it should make more people come to understand it. One part of this study, it shows, I don't know if you can read this up here, it says international medical prices for selected services as a percentage of US price. If you can see this line, I can't point to it, my finger disappears. This is where the US price is, this line. And you can read down here the countries and where their prices are. This should tell you, like, we live in a bubble in the US. These are our prices, this is everybody else's. Only twice does someone come close or supersede, and that's New Zealand, an isolated Lord of the Rings island, which some of the funniest people exist on. The Kiwis, love them. This should haunt you. When you look at the prices down here, I mean, there's a whole plethora of stuff to go into. I'm sorry, I've just been doing this. I didn't realize we were on here for 2 hours already. I wanted to cover more of this, but I'm just gonna leave you with some charts and the links down below. And then when you look at another article in Time magazine, linked down below, for the first time this century, child mortality is likely to rise. Bill Gates and his foundation talk in this, you can read it for yourself, about how all the cuts in US aid, it doesn't specifically mention that, but it talks about like the cuts to helping, the wealthier nations prioritizing defense spending instead of helping the other countries, is going to have catastrophic consequences. Catastrophic. Oh, that was another thing I wanted to. So please read those, because I did want to show you guys this. This is Dan Price Seattle on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, I don't believe you. It's a fucking waste space. It's a wasteland. This guy, 10 years. That's so crazy. I was in radio and we talked about this guy. I defended this guy and what he was doing in his company on the air against the host of the show and the propaganda against anybody in capitalism who dare pay their employees enough to live. He owns Gravity Payments. He set a $70,000 minimum wage, and he goes, people wonder how'd it go. We can come, and again, I do this because, Stephelson, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. But again, this is Dan Price. You can look into his story. It's very fascinating, but this is 10 years. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I remember when this happened. My wife sent me the article. This is the reason I know about it. It's so amazing. And I've applied to work for him. But this is, again, just proof that when you pay people enough, there's no shortage of jobs. Nobody doesn't want to work, because if you paid somebody flipping burgers $50 an hour, there'd be a line around the corner. Everybody would be flipping the best fucking burgers you've ever seen. So it's not that problem. It's people don't want to be exploited anymore. And this guy proved it. So we raised the minimum wage to $80,000 and added an employee profit sharing program. Hold on. Yet outside the company, it made no impact. So some of his tweets, though, oh shit, what does that say? Revived 650% since the minimum wage. Like they had that much more business. Revenue grows 650%. Headcount doubled to over 200 full-time employees. We've been profitable every year and have zero debt. Many reasons everybody has grown. No doubt the minimum wage played a huge part. So I just wanted to plug some of this because this is, again, what I've talked about for the companies we talked about here on the live stream in the UK that tried out a 4-day work week and none of them are going back. They're all like, no, we're more profitable. People are healthier. People like coming into work. They like their time away. There's no turnover or not as much. Look, employee turnover dropped from 22% a decade earlier to 6% this year. Employee productivity, measured by revenue per employee, doubled. Institutional knowledge and experience grew dramatically. Way more applicants. I think it says 10. I can't read that. Data suggesting employees are more engaged when they feel valued, and that rang true here. So the other thing, because Elon Musk and his puppet master machine, 100% locally owned, expanded our business. But I want to show you this. Look at this up here. Since our wage was announced, our staff has collectively experienced 75 marriages, 20% increase, 85 house purchases, 12% increase, and 115 children born, 5% increase. Although we were a remote-first company, many employees live in high-cost areas like Seattle and Honolulu. Before the minimum wage increased, most saw a starting family as nearly impossible. Our CEO makes 2.8, the median employee, as compared to 22 times. This is the only problem in America. This can fix so much besides the healthcare system. In the economy, this is the proof. When Joe Rogan and Elon Musk talk about civilization on their podcast, smoking weed, acting like they're fucking, some cool rebels, some outsiders, the greasers. Meanwhile, they have all government employees on and Palantir and the CIA. Just say, bro, if people were paid enough, they would buy homes, start families, build communities. Everybody's renting, worried about the cost of egg. Like, this is the proof, guys. This is proof. It works. This is what it was like in the 70s before Reagan, in the 50s when people could live on a single earner's income, when we had that kind of economy here. This shit works. This is the only shit we should be pushing for. This is the big one with healthcare. Universal healthcare, cut CEOs to only be able to make, 2.8 times, and pay your employees. Make stock buybacks illegal. It's simple. We have the fix. Elon Musk, he's so worried about civilization, but he doesn't care if people go hungry. You think hungry people want to have kids? Get the fuck out of here. So here's some more about the profit sharing. So just so you know, I wanted to show you that because that's on Twitter. I know not everybody has access to Twitter. CEO seems like they're crushing it, setting a good example of how this can work. Well, and you know what the funny thing is like, I'm pretty sure his brother, the media, everybody attacked him as soon as he did this, because what does that do? If he's proven right, it shows that that's what's wrong. It's not the fucking immigrants. It's not women in the workplace. It's none of that shit. It's CEO greed, right? And if you go back, or if you followed his story through the years, he has been trashed. His brother went after him. Like all these things, the media was like, this is a failure. This is socialism, da-da-da. It's like, my God, man. Greed knows no limitations. Greed is just all-consuming, and it can never be satiated. And we have to be able to combat it. They want you to give them your kids. Yep. That's why they want you in debt, uneducated, and not well paid. Because they want to ensure the labor class does never, can stay where it is. Want to protect, and I'm really curious why you're just ignoring that and not addressing the fact that you completely said things that absolutely made no sense. Can't even back. What are you talking about? Again, what sources do you have backing up anything? What about impoverished people who struggle to get an ID? So wait, what is your point? I'm sorry. You're talking about a whole different thing? If you care about immigrants and you care about people who are marginalized, why don't you care about what is happening where they're trying to make the ID laws? Yeah. I'm just not talking about ID laws right now. I'm sorry. Find me a story about the ID laws and we'll totally combat them because that shit is bullshit. There you go. You were having your own little whole conversation there while I was talking about this stuff. Yeah. Cat. Those CEOs don't want it. They won't, it's like the police policing the police, Like, oh, the police are going to go, oh, we did a whoopsie. We need to be in trouble. They ain't going to do it, The CEOs are not going to be like, oh, we'll give back. We're going to make sure. And just look at the proof. Go look at companies and how much they spend on stock buybacks as opposed to paying their employees enough to survive. That's why Walmart, their full-time employees are some of the biggest SNAP recipients. Walmart is using our tax dollars. They are welfare queens. Walmart is. Because they are literal queens, inheritance queens. They did nothing, the heirs of Walmart. They were just born into wealth and they don't pay their people enough, so the government picks up the bill. Where they should be able to pay their people enough. And they can. They can. They're not struggling. They're not. Oh God, somebody has, anyways, yeah, I was just showing people that this CEO of Gravity Payments, Dan Price, Seattle, in case you didn't know, he tweeted this a little while ago, and I remember when he did this. It was huge news 10 years ago. I still can't believe it was 10 years ago. And he decided he would pay all his employees $70,000. He bumped it up to 80, and his company has exploded, taken off. It's the proof. It's the proof that the revenue jumped 650%. It's the proof that once you pay people enough and they're not looking for multiple jobs and they can focus on one and they have a life outside of it and they can, have kids and buy houses and all that stuff, it works. This is the problem. And politicians trying to sell you anything else is a lie. Well, you all right, buddy? All right, guys. I have to go, but please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I send you all love to my mods. Thank you guys so much for doing everything that you do. Solidarity to Luigi. Look at that. He gave us the fist. He knows, and we support him. Innocent till proven guilty, but that one's innocent. Saved millions of lives. St. Luigi. Crushed Dice. Thank you. Cat. Zen Ali. Stay dangerous. Always. Dangerous with the thoughts. Thinking is dangerous now. That's why they don't want you woke. They don't want you awake. They don't want you thinking. They don't want you critically thinking, using common sense, asking them about what they mean. They don't want you questioning anything. Donald Trump and the maggots just want you to be obedient, and especially in advance. And they don't like questions or kickback or dissent, or that's why he's always mad and it's always a failing this and you're not very nice. They're fragile. And here in America, while we're still free to think and free to speak, we should be. Stay very dangerous with your thoughts. Cat, you have a new follower out of me. Man, keep speaking these truths. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Make sure you hit the notification bell. I'm live every single weekday, sometimes on the weekends. Again, my son's been sick, so I should be live this week. I just play it by ear. You know, there's nothing more important in life than family. And I stress that with you. And that's why we need to build these communities up. That's why we need to do what we need to do, take care of each other. And more importantly, plant seeds, plant them seeds. Go take this information. I try to link everything we talk about down below. All the stories we talk about down below for you to read, you know, think about, take a different point of view, share with people, do it. More importantly, join the community. Please, I can't do this without you. I can't amplify this voice on my own. I need your help. You didn't hear that, did you? That's embarrassing. I need your help. So have a good holiday season. Thank you. And you too. Much love.